I'm going to begin by selecting tables in the list of objects. Now that I've done that, I'm going to double-click to open the Customers table. Notice that we can see the Customers table in Datasheet view. If I wanted to preview what this datasheet would look like printed, I can click the Preview tool. If I click Print Preview, you can see we get a look at what this particular datasheet would look like if we were to print it. Notice that if I zoom in, you can see that we're looking at the contact title, the address, and the city. And those are the only fields that fit on that particular page based on our margins and the fact that we are in portrait mode rather than landscape. So one of the things that I might want to do is modify the page setup of this datasheet just as I would modify the page setup of a report. And I can do that using the File menu and selecting Page Setup. If I select Page Setup, I can designate my margins differently, making them, for example, 0.25 each. And I can go over to the Page tab and designate that I want this to print in landscape mode rather than in portrait mode. Clicking OK, you can see that my print preview changes. Now this is only a 2-page report, and we can see a lot more fields at one time. If I actually want to send this to the printer, I can click the Print tool to send this to the printer. Now if I close the datasheet, close out of Print Preview, and I double-click to go into Customers again, viewing the normal datasheet, if I click the Print Preview tool, notice that none of those settings were saved. And in fact, those settings also do not apply to any of the other tables. Just as you can print the datasheet that's associated with a table, you can also print the datasheet that's associated with a query. I'm going to click Queries in the list of objects. Now what I'm going to do is double-click to run the Category Sales for 1997 query. And here you can see the result of the query. If I want to preview what this would look like printed, I can click the Print Preview tool and see exactly what this would look like printed, zoom in and out, and modify the page setup just as I did before. And when I'm ready to print this query, I can click the Print tool. So you can see that if I'm not picky about the format of my printed data, it might not be necessary for me to actually create a report. It might be sufficient for me to simply print a table data sheet or the data sheet that acts as the result of the query.